I got a scenario that I want to start this video off with, and you let me know what you think would happen to you if you did this. Let's say for some reason you lived in Detroit and you didn't feel like registering your gun, which is apparently required there. I don't know why they do that, but they do it. Sure as hell is helping gun violence over there, guys, right? But let's say you forget to register the gun, but also let's say that you didn't buy the gun yourself and that the serial numbers were super hard to read on that gun. And then you decided to forget about the gun in your bag and go to the airport and try to get it through security. What do you think would happen to you? You know what I think would happen? I think Joe Biden would even talk about it. I think they would throw your ass in jail and never let you out. They would call you a terrorist. They would probably try to make up some story that you're trying to take over a plane. Probably 15 different other things. Well, what I just described to you actually happened. And guess who it was? It was a judge. A judge from Detroit. Let's go over some of the highlights because I think this is pretty important as far as how you and I are treated versus someone at a higher level in our society, I guess you could call it. This woman's name is Cynthia Latoy Miller. She had a .380 handgun when she was going through security checkpoint on June 8th. How do you forget that in your bag? I carry a gun everywhere. Everywhere. But when I travel and I'm going through an airport, I scour my stuff. In fact, the bags that I use to travel, I never, ever use when I go to the range or to store anything. Why? Because 9mm sometimes pops out of the bag or out of a mag. And then you're screwed if you go through security with that. Except if you're Cynthia Latoy Miller, then you're not because you're a judge in Detroit. This is an interesting point. The gun's serial number was difficult to read. Miller told police her brother gave her the gun and she hadn't registered it. I'm just trying to understand this in a way that a normal citizen would be treated. A serial number that was difficult to read. Like, what do you mean? Someone took a Dremel to it? Because I've carried the same handgun for the past 5-6 years, and there is absolutely no wear and tear to the serial number. Zero. So what do you mean it's hard to read? It's not like a label on something that just comes off. Miller told police her brother gave her the gun and she hadn't registered it. So you didn't purchase it in your name. Someone gave it to you, and you didn't follow the laws there and register it.
With a Wayne County judge caught on the wrong side of the law.
The judge ran into some trouble this past weekend as she was traveling out of state. While going through airport security here at Detroit Metro, TSA found this .380 caliber Smith & Wesson firearm. It was loaded and in the judge's purse. Todd Perkins is the judge's lawyer and a longtime friend.
Why was she carrying a gun?
Well, she's a licensed CPL holder. And, you know, she can lawfully possess in a concealed fashion a firearm in the state of Michigan.
But of course, you can't carry a loaded firearm in your carry-on. Sources tell us that Miller told airport police the gun had belonged to her brother, who lives in Ohio, where guns don't need to be registered. But they do here in Michigan, and Perkins admits he doesn't know if the gun the judge was carrying was registered at the time it was discovered.
What impression she was under at the time that this took place, you know, only that day will tell.
Yeah, but it's not like she's an average citizen. She's a judge.
Well, she's not looking for any credit for being a judge. She definitely does not doing that. She holds herself accountable and will hold herself accountable as well as anyone else.
And a judge you would expect would know the law in the state of Michigan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're not running from that.
He says Judge Miller has been going through a difficult time recently, caring for a close loved one who's facing health challenges, and that her mind may have been elsewhere. That's no excuse, he says tonight, and insists the judge received no special favors from airport police.
I don't think that there's been any special preferential treatment for her.
I don't know, what would the ATF say? You sound like a criminal. You sound like you're contributing to gun violence. You sound like you did a private firearm transaction, so now we have to arrest you. Maybe we'll even raid your house. I mean, it's only fair, right? We've got to be consistent. So this judge has been charged, and let's read the pansy-ass charge she was charged with. She's facing a charge of carrying a dangerous weapon in an airport, a misdemeanor offense that carries up to 1 year in jail and a $1,000 fine. Really? That's all? Carrying a dangerous weapon in an airport, not even a firearm. We're talking about like a knife. You would get the same charge in an airport if you brought a dagger in your bag. What about the defaced serial number? No charge for that? What about her not registering her gun? What about her brother just handing her a gun in Detroit? Now look, I don't believe in any of these gun laws. I think it's pretty dumb to try to bring a gun into an airport. But as far as all the other stuff, the serial number, her brother giving her the gun, I don't see any problem with that. The problem that I see is how this judge is being treated versus how they usually treat cases like this. Make an example out of her. If you're a judge sitting there watching over cases where someone is charged with having a defaced serial number on their handgun, are you sitting there saying, oh, well, it's all right. I mean, your brother gave it to him. No, but because it's a judge, we just let it go. Something wrong with this.